Hi everybody, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me today on my channel. My name is Ashley, also known as Colorado Killer Queen, and I am here bringing you a fresh review for the Final Girls of Horror. As a reminder, if you're new to my channel, the Final Girls of Horror are a group of women who create horror content. We choose a movie every week, and then each of us reviews that movie on our own individual YouTube channels. Look below in the description. I will have all of their information linked below so you can like, follow, subscribe, check out their videos, check out their Instagram, all of that fun stuff. And the Final Girls also has its own Instagram page, so I will link that below as well. So this week's movie, I don't even know what to say. This might be the most difficult review I've done yet just because there's so much going on here. So we are doing creature features for April, and our lovely Jen decided to choose Rottentail, which is a horror comedy from 2018. So this movie follows Peter Cotton, who is a scientist that works on rabbits and infertility. He ends up learning that the military wishes to use his work to create superhuman soldiers. Cotton is then bitten by a rabbit who is experimented upon and is basically mutated. He's bitten by this rabbit, and then over the course of the movie, he slowly begins to transform into a man bunny creature that refers to himself as Rottentail. Now, Rottentail has its own personality. So when Peter is starting to turn into Rottentail, you can see he's struggling for control of his body. So sometimes it will be Peter and his personality talking, and then sometimes Rottentail will come through. Rottentail has a very distinct voice, and the way that he talks, it makes it obvious when he is in control. So that's what this movie is about. Peter must now try to figure out what the hell he's gonna do as he's turning into this man rabbit. So silly. Every word of this review just is gonna make me laugh because it's so silly. So this was directed by Skiba, and I found out that this was actually, the movie was written by the guys who wrote the graphic novel. There's a graphic novel, did not know that, but it actually makes sense to me that there is. So that's what this movie is based off of, and it stars Dominique, Swain, William McNamara, Corin, Nemec. And then I think Skiba, the director, actually does have a role as well in here. So I had to take notes on this one. As you know, I normally kind of just freestyle these reviews, but there was just so much happening in this movie that I just wanted to write it down as I was experiencing it. So these notes are going to go all over the place. There's going to be spoilers, which is fine with this type of movie, but if you don't want to hear spoilers and you plan on watching this, then click away, come join me next time. Because this is going to have some spoilers. So I guess where I want to start is with the characters themselves. So Peter Cotton, our main character, is a very, very nerdy guy at the start of the movie. He's like your typical science. My cat's about to jump off my desk and possibly push everything to the ground. Okay, we're safe. He is basically your average nerdy scientist dude that you would see in any cheesy movie. He's very quiet, gets stepped on, that sort of thing, which is why when he changes into Rottentail, his personality is very opposite. He's very loud, crass, dangerous. So it's really a contrast between Peter and Rottentail, who I just remembered, his personality and the sound of his voice almost makes me think of Beetlejuice in a way. Did anyone else get that? I'm not sure, but I felt Beetlejuice a little bit in that character. But other than Rottentail, there is this crazy scientist. I don't know if he's like German or something, but this crazy scientist who basically wants to use the serum for evil and to create these soldiers, these superhuman soldiers, with the military to, you know, gain fortune, basically. So he's a character in there that's kind of comes in and out of the movie. There's a lot of, I feel like there's 3 different plots in this movie. Like, it goes all over the place. But so there's the scientist guy, there's quite possibly my favorite character, who was the sadistic, greedy pastor. I'll return to him in a minute. The pastor's wife, Anne, I believe, who she's trying to take him down because the pastor wants to take over this church that's in the town, but it's a historical church. So the pastor had the documents doctored so that it didn't look like it was historical, so he could shut it down. Because he discovered there are gold reserves underneath this church, so he wants to tear it down, get the gold, make a bunch of money. So his ex-wife, Anne, is trying to stop him from doing that because her family owned that church. So there's that sideline story going on as well. And then who else did I want to bring up? I feel like I'm forgetting someone. Oh, the general. So with this military involvement, there's a general who is kind of the main contact point here for the military with this science lab. I almost don't want to, I know I said I give spoilers, but I almost don't want to go that far into this character just because it's weird what happens. Like, this whole movie's weird, but they just kind of go off on a weird tangent with this one. He ends up, basically, long story short, the scientist guy ends up turning the general into this Frankenstein type monster that sort of looks like a robot or some shit, something from like Halo or, you know, like it has he's wearing a weird sort of suit, and half his body's normal and then the other half looks all weird and, you know, fucked up, mutated. So there's a weird side story going on with that. The general and the rabbit end up fighting. Like, it's super weird. So those are basically the main characters in the movie. Each of them with their own story, yet they're all kind of intertwined. So the gore in this movie actually wasn't too bad. When it first started, there was blood, actually a pretty decent amount of blood, but that was about it, just blood. As the movie progresses, you actually start to see, like, there's a beheading and, you know, other things like that start happening. So the gore actually is pretty decent, but remember, this is a B movie. And I know I'm getting all over the place with this, but before I continue, on that note, I do want to say, if you go into this movie expecting anything good, it's not going to happen. Like, this is a B movie at its core. It's terrible. The acting is horrendous. It's just a weird fucking story. Just everything about it is just terrible. It is terrible. However, if you like terrible movies like I do, and you go into it knowing to expect that, I think you could have fun with this one. My girl Nye and my girl Daniella from The Final Girls, they both hated this movie, and I can see why completely. It's easily hateable. And I don't know, they haven't posted their reviews yet. Hopefully by the time I'm done with mine, theirs will be up and I can go watch it. But I'm not totally sure what their reasoning is. I don't know if they were kind of expecting, you know, one thing and then it turned out something else. So I'm really interested to hear their thoughts. But I know that they hated it. I didn't hate it. For what it was, I enjoyed it. For just dumb, no sense, terrible acting, you know, just bizarre twist, throughout the story. It's terrible, but it's great. If you go into it knowing that it's terrible, you can have a lot of fun with it. Okay, back to the review. Just had to say that. So the pastor is hilarious. He is this greedy, sadistic pastor that only cares about money, doesn't care who he has to stomp on to get it, that sort of thing. There's a part where he runs this commercial on the TV of he's trying to sell baptisms. So he's like, for a special rate of $27.99, you can get a baptism, blah, blah, blah. You know, that sort of kind of infomercial-y thing. And the best part about it is, so it's him standing there with a table and then like a little bucket, basically, on the table. And he has someone, and he's pushing the dude's head down, like holding the dude's head under the water as if he's giving him a baptism. But the whole commercial, he just stands there holding dude's head under the water, and he ends up like passing out because he's just holding his breath the whole time. Excuse me, it was super funny. So that guy's hilarious. There's a scene with him where they're in a hot tub, and it's him and two other ladies, and he takes one of the ladies, and basically it's like, praise God. That's the frequent saying he keeps bringing up. Praise God, as he takes the girl's head and baptizes her underneath the hot tub water. So this pastor's crazy. Don't want to mess with him. He is just everything opposite of what you would think a pastor would be, which is why I love him so much, because he is hilarious. One bonus I did actually truly like about this movie was the cool colors that they used on set. For most of the film, it is just really colorful lighting, which I thought was cool and pretty. So if you like that kind of stuff, I think you'll like this. There are certain parts that get pretty crass, and if you're not into like toilet humor or sex humor, you know, there are certain parts of the movie that you may not enjoy. For example, Rottentail decides to get it on with the generals. I don't know if she was his wife or just girlfriend, but he gets it on as Rottentail with this girl. So that was the most awkward sex scene I've ever seen in my life in a movie. So it won that at least. And then the makeup of Rottentail actually made me think of Tusk a lot. Just how they did the face and the skin, it looked a lot like Tusk. If you didn't like this movie, you will not like Tusk either, so just be warned of that. But that is what it made me think of. And then I don't know if I just looked away at the wrong moment or I'm just missing something, but at one point, Rottentail basically can use electricity. Like, he uses it to go really fast or for strength or to like hit someone. It's super weird. I don't really know where that came from. I'm guessing it probably makes more sense in the graphic novel, but it just kind of, or I just missed it. But I swear, I just looked at the screen and it was just, I didn't even know what to think about the electricity. Sorry, I got a little brain dead for a second because my battery is dying and I just got a notification. So that kind of like electrified my brain and got me off track. But I'm back. So yeah, the electricity was weird. Don't really know what that had to do with anything. What happens with the general, super weird. Why he turns into, like, it's all very weird. There's an Old West duel at one point, and that actually was a cool gore scene. He cuts dude's head off, and the dude's head goes flying up into the air, like right into the camera, so that was kind of cool. And then, let's see. There's one more thing I wanted to say before. Oh, okay. So I noticed one of the screams is the scream from Ariel Monsters. Anyone else see that? And then I loved, so there's a scene where he is dressed in an actual Easter Bunny suit and goes to like the mall and kids are like sitting on his lap and stuff. And this kid sits on his lap that has chocolate and he totally just like rips the chocolate out of the kid's hands. And he's like, you'll get nothing and you'll like it. And then he just like eats all the candy basically from the kids. So he's just like a terrible character in the sense of what he does is terrible, but it comes off as very humorous to me at least. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I'm seeing I'm at almost 16 minutes. These things go by. I just talk too much. But I would say I went into it expecting crap. It was crap, but it was fun crap. So if you are like me and you love terrible, terrible movies, I would recommend this one. I really would. It was fun. If you're not so much into those types of movies, don't watch it. You'll fucking hate it. So that's my review. You'll love it or hate it. Come back after you've watched it. Hopefully you go watch it. Come back. Let me know which side you fall on. I'm really interested to see what others think about this one. So thank you for joining me. I'm out of here. I'm going to go enjoy my weekend. I hope you guys do too. Thanks for joining me, and I love you guys. Bye.